Hey everybody, Steve G here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And what we have this time is the now Yamamoto Ginsan hammered Bunka 165mm knife. So it's a lot there in the name, but it pretty much describes what we have going on. So this knife has a 3-layer construction. The core steel in the center is what's known as Ginsan or Silver 3 or Ginsanko. So it's a fine grain conventional stainless steel. Excellent for kitchen knives. It gets wicked sharp. It's easy to sharpen, holds a decent edge. It's a superb steel for kitchen knife. On top of that, on either side, the cladding is also stainless. It's a soft stainless cladding that wraps around over the top of the spine. And you can see that cladding has what's known as a tsushime or a hammered pattern, kind of a regular hammered pattern to it. You've got the grind right here down towards the edge. Here's your cladding line and then your core steel at the edge. So it's a real pretty blade. The heat treat on that Ginsan is typically around 60-61, so not super hard, but hard enough to give you good performance and decent edge retention. Handle is an octagonal, kind of a standard octagonal rosewood with a black Packawood ferrule on it. It's a stabilized wood product. It's a nice fit and finish. It's not really much of a jump here. It's pretty smooth between the two materials. And then they've got a really nice tight seal job there where the tang goes into the handle. So nicely done. That handle and the knife being kind of light brings the balance point right about there, which is just in front of that choil. So on a pinch grip, it'll be a little handle heavy, but not too much. So it's still fairly light knife, pretty nimble. In terms of actual dimensions and such, this particular one is 141 grams or 5 ounces, right on the money. Edge length on this is 169 millimeters, so a little bit longer than the 165. 6.65 inches from tip to the end of the heel here. And then the overall length, about 312 millimeters or 12.3 inches overall. Spine thickness, these are high performance blades that are fairly stiff coming out of the handle, or I should say fairly thick coming out of the handle, and got a fair amount of stiffness to them. You might consider this kind of a metal weight with a little bit of muscle to it, so it's got a nice performance, a nice feel on the board. I got about 3 millimeters thick at the back of the knife here on the spine, then about 2.3 halfway down the blade. And then it kind of holds that. You can see you got your corner here where it turns on the tip, and then it gets pretty thin. Camera to catch up here. Come on, camera. There we go. Gets pretty thin at the tip, so it's nice. You can see it's a fairly high grind here, so you got a lot of room here for making that thin towards the tip. And then it's also pretty thin at the edge. So this should perform very nicely. It should be a nice combination of performance through food as well as food separation. Food sticking will be a little bit less. Food release will be pretty good because you got the hammering on here, the texture. So it's a kind of a good combination of characteristics. Height about 46 millimeters at the back, so I've got a fair amount of tallness to it, and they've got a good gentle curve here at the choil into the neck, so there's lots of good space there for your finger on a pinch grip. Fit and finish is nicely done. No sharp corners on the spine, and they've done a little bit of work at the choil back here. It's not super rounded, but it's got a little bit of roundness on it, so nicely done. Out of the box edge, this will give a 6, maybe 7 out of 10. It's quite sharp out of the box. Nice, very good fit and finish on it. On the left side of the blade, you've got some hand-engraved kanji. You can see that right there. It kind of pops. You can feel it when you run your fingers across it. It's really nice to be able to look at that. You can see the chisel marks in there as they engrave it. But very nice touch on that. It's on again the left side of the blade. This also what you might call a nishiji or pearskin mottled finish to it, in addition to the hammering. So it's got a little bit of that kind of mottled finish on the blade flat. We're going to do an opposite here on our beauty shot, since this is where the cool stuff is on this side. Let's look at it on the cutting board. So this knife has a lot of, handmade characteristics to it. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Here's your board shot. You can see there's a little bit of a flat towards the back, maybe 30% of the blade. So it flows nicely into a stop at the back. So it's got some chopping area back there. The tip's not super low, so I can get right in there. Tip actually, you could probably finish that off a little different when you sharpen it in the last couple of millimeters if you want to sweep that up a little bit, but I'm getting about right there. So this one's, with the tip the way it is, it's not going to rock real high, but you can rock over short stuff. It'll tip draw great through stuff if you like to do that. Push-pull cuts, glide cuts, things like that. A little bit of chopping towards the back. So I'd say, given that length, it's a very versatile profile. So it's just a nicely made knife, a lot of kind of handcrafted character to it, excellent steel, got a nice feel on the board, should have a nice combination of performance and stiffness to it. This is the now Yamamoto Ginsan hammered Bunka 165mm knife from Chef Knives to Go.